Hey everybody, it's your girl Carmela. Hey. I got a thought that's just really been on my heart on today that I want to talk to you about real briefly to encourage you as the holidays are quickly approaching. And the reason I feel that it needs to be dealt with now while the holidays are approaching is because now is when we are around family and when we are around friends and when we let our guards down with people that we have set boundaries with. And I wanted to tell you today that it's okay to set healthy boundaries. It's not ungodly for you to protect your heart. It is not. And I know that is a hard conversation to have, but it's necessary so that you don't expose yourself and your children to something that is going to take you months and months to recover from. So that's what we're going to be sharing about today. And if you know somebody that can use a little bit of encouragement, I hope that you would share this video with them or that you would tag them in this video so that they can be encouraged as well. So again, today we're going to be talking about setting healthy boundaries, getting those boundaries in place so that you don't suffer at the hands of somebody else. You know, y'all, we all have these people in our family. They got these slick remarks and things like that that they like to make, and you know who they are in your family, and you need to set those boundaries. It's okay. You know who they are on your job. You know who they are in your life, just in general. And so it's important for us to set healthy boundaries. Somebody drop that in the comment for me. I hope y'all can hear me and see me clearly online. Set healthy boundaries. All right, I'm going to pull it up and we're going to dive right in because I only have a few minutes and then I'm going to jump on the road and go down and support on one of my team members. Set healthy boundaries. Before we jump into that, I want to share this with you. We are preparing for our gym weekend in 2024. God's Entrepreneurs Mastermind is going to be 10 hours. It's like an intensive. I will have one of my friends is going to be there sharing with you on how to protect your brand. She has successfully trademarked a few things. She's going to be sharing with you how to do that. We do have another one of my friends is going to be with us telling you how to set up your business legally and some of the pitfalls you can run into when you don't have some things in place. I have another friend that she is just phenomenal at the mindset that's necessary for us to move forward. She'll be sharing on the CEO mindset. We're going to be sharing about our six-figure blueprint, how to make six figures and multiple six figures in 1 year. And this workbook, the workbook alone is worth the price of admission. This particular workbook will show you how to break down your costs of your particular items and show you how to categorize everything and be able to put an implementation plan in place. So if you're interested in the gym weekend, make sure you reach out to me so that I can get an invoice over to you. And Afterpay is available and is an option. You save $149 if you register on today's Cyber Monday. After that, the price goes up to its normal price. But I'm looking forward to seeing many of you on that weekend. It's going to be an amazing weekend. Friday night dinner is included. Saturday continental breakfast and lunch is included. All of your workshop materials, everything that you need to be successful is included, except you. You got to be there. The only thing not included is your lodging and your travel. All right, so let's jump into what I wanted to share with you about on today. Setting healthy boundaries. So first of all, what is a boundary? And your boundaries is the limit that you set. It's a line that marks the limit. It's the line that marks the limit. It's limits and rules that you set for yourselves. Same thing with your mental health. You have to have certain boundaries, certain things that you allow and certain things that you do not allow. But one thing about having healthy boundaries is you got to have self-awareness. And you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be able to say the things that you will allow and the things that you will not allow. You have to be okay with the things that you can discuss and the things that are triggers for you. That's why self-awareness is so important. Like I can have a relationship and be connected to somebody and we have different spiritual beliefs. And we can discuss anything, but my faith is not up for discussion. So that's a boundary, right? So we can talk about family, we can talk about work, we can talk about business. We just don't talk about religion. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is a healthy boundary. I'm not trying to persuade them. They're not trying to persuade me. We're connected for a different reason. You have to have healthy boundaries. And as the holidays are approaching, you got to even realize that you need emotional boundaries. And emotional boundaries is where you take ownership for your own feelings. So for my emotional boundaries, I take ownership for my own emotions. I take ownership for my own feelings, but I do not take ownership and responsibility for your feelings and your emotions. Now, that don't mean that I get to be a tyrant and a bully and I'm making you feel some kind of way. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about responsible, mature adults here, right? There are certain people that feel some kind of way. Let me just give you an example and make this plain for you. When you're talking about emotional boundaries, there's sometimes people will feel some kind of way about decisions that you've made for your life. It does not affect them in any way, right? So a boundary says that I don't need your permission for me to move forward in this. I love you. We can stay connected over here on this end, but this over here, you don't get a say so in that. That's what a healthy emotional boundary is, right? When I had weight loss surgery, there were several people that didn't feel like I should have weight loss surgery. They felt like I could do it a different way. Well, guess what? An emotional boundary says I'm only responsible for my emotions. How they feel about my decision is on them, because what I did not affect them at all. So I hope that make that clear for you when I'm talking about setting healthy emotional boundaries where you're only responsible for your emotions. That's why self-awareness is so important. I'm not responsible for their emotions, especially if what I did don't even affect them, right? It's about us taking full responsibility and being adults enough to say, you know what, I'm not a kid anymore. You don't get to push me around. You don't get to tell me what to do. I get to do what's best for me, and I make my own decisions for me and for my household. Boundaries. It's a line that you set that creates a healthy boundary and a healthy limit for you and the other people that you're connected to. Boundaries. Here's another way to look at boundaries. Boundaries teach other people how to treat you. See, when we don't set boundaries, so let me back up. A lot of times as children, we didn't get a choice, right? As kids, certain stuff happened to us. People that should have protected us didn't protect us. All these things happened to us. And so we learn to just be quiet. And we learn as children to accept certain things. We've all heard you're going to do it because I said so, right? You don't get to get a choice. You don't get to get a voice. You don't get to get a vote. But as an adult, you do. Your voice, your vote matters. And it's important for you to speak up, because as an adult, you teach people how to treat you. You don't get to just tell me what to do. You don't get to run over me. You don't get to make decisions. You don't get to make jokes about me at my expense and expect me to just sit there and take it. And then I leave broken and y'all think it's funny. You have to set healthy boundaries. And I'm like, God, these are some hard topics, right? Because the last time he had me talking about the spirit of rejection. But when we don't have healthy boundaries as adults, this is what keeps us stuck in toxic relationships, because we feel like we just have to take whatever people give, and you don't have to just accept it. When you come on my page and you can go look at any of my reels, my videos, any of my pages on any channels. I'm always talking about you're worth it. We're created in God's image and in his likeness. You're the apple of God's eye. Like those positive affirmations that are based on the word of God, so that we can build ourselves up. Because what happens is broken children become broken adults. And so if we haven't learned how to set boundaries as children, as adults, a lot of times we haven't learned how to set boundaries as adults. And so not only do we find ourselves in toxic relationships, we find ourselves being taken advantage of on our jobs. We find ourselves being taken advantage of by family members. We find ourselves being taken advantage of by anybody that we have any type of connection with. But you can have healthy relationships. You can. You just have to take responsibility for your own emotions and give it back to people. I tell people, I'm in this group. I'm in this weight loss group, and people say, well, what do you do? And so-and-so say you're too skinny. Or what do you do? And so-and-so say you lost too much weight, or they're being negative, although I'm healthy. I say, give it back to them. Healthy boundaries say, I don't allow somebody to just dump their weight and their stuff on me, and they leave light and carefree. And then here I am weighted down by the weight and the negativity and the negative words that other people have placed upon me. Setting healthy boundaries say, we're not going to talk about that, right? You change the subject. Or you say, you know what, I love you, but let me go and get off the phone. I'll talk to you later. Or you say, you know what, it's been great visiting with you. I'm going to have to leave and I'll see you soon. Like, you remove yourself from that situation if you have to. As an adult, you have every right to set healthy boundaries. And when somebody ignores your boundary, it's okay for you to say it clear. You can't just wait on people to figure it out. Just tell them, listen, you don't get a vote. I love you, but this is my decision. I'm telling you, y'all, it's easier said than done because there's emotions that gets attached to it, but you have to keep your emotions in check so that you can take charge of your own life, right? Here, let me give you a couple of examples of healthy boundaries and I'm done. Number one, if somebody invites you to do something and you don't want to do it, you can decline it. I paused on purpose. It's okay for you to say no. That's a healthy boundary. When you say no to that particular opportunity, you say no to going to that event, you say no to showing up at that party or whatever it is, you're not saying no to the person, you say no to that particular event. Healthy boundaries mean that it's okay for you to decline anything that you do not want to do. Healthy boundaries, you can express your feelings responsibly. You don't have to use profanity. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to make a big scene. You ain't got to make a whole post and get a whole bunch of people to agree with you. Listen, this is my boundary. It's my decision. Whether somebody agrees with me or not is still okay. Healthy boundaries. Decline it if you don't want to go. Express your feelings responsibly. Number three is reply in the moment. That is so important because a lot of times we internalize it. You got to take it. You got to think about it. And then by the time you do reply, you're mad about stuff that's done happened for the last 3, 4, 5 years, right? Deal with it then. Deal with it then and don't get so emotionally caught up. Go ahead and deal with it, nip it in the bud, and keep on moving. Number 4, address the problem directly with that person. That's what the word of God says. It said, if you got a problem with that person, you go to that person. You and that person try to work it out. If you and that person can't work it out, then you bring in another person, a witness with you so that y'all can try to work it out together. But you set healthy boundaries. Number 1, you decline it if you don't want to go. Number 2, you express your feelings responsibly. Number 3, you reply right when it happened. Reply in the moment. Number 4, address the problem with the person that created the problem. People like to throw a rock and hide their hands. No, I see you. So come on over here. Let's go and talk this through right now. Because obviously there's a problem. I don't know what the problem is, but let's just go ahead and work it out. Keep your emotions in check. Keep your voice down. Set healthy boundaries. And now some people, especially narcissistic people, there's nothing you're going to do because what they're going to try to do is flip it back on you and make it your fault. That's okay. You are, again, we go back to what I said earlier. You are not responsible for other people's emotions. You're only responsible for your own. And number 5, make your expectations very clear. You can't just assume that people are going to figure it out. And in the beginning, especially if you have enabled people to just kind of run your life and tell you what to do and all these things, and you start setting boundaries, they're going to feel like, oh, you're the one that's changing. But it's okay. Because if they love you, you will figure out a way to have a healthy boundary and still have a connection. And with some people, it's not even about that. I'm talking about it. And now, the reason I say if they love you, because a lot of times these boundaries have to be set with family members. Let's just be honest. Because if it's a stranger, we don't even have to deal with each other, right? And so sometimes you have to limit your engagement with family members when you don't know how to set a boundary or they don't respect your boundaries, because the only person you're responsible for is you. I cannot speak for anybody else. I cannot reply and respond for anybody else. The only person that I got to answer to God for is me. And so it's important that you have healthy boundaries in place this holiday season. I hope that you make new memories. I hope that your dreams and your wishes and all the things that you're planning into the new year, that you have a good, solid ending to this year, right? But it starts with you being able to speak up for you. You do not have to allow people to run over you. You do not. And sometimes you do need to just be quiet and excuse yourself from the room, right? For peace sake. I've been there. I've done that. I've been in therapy for it, right? And I'm all for Christian counselors. If you have to have somebody that you can talk to help you walk through this process, by all means do that, because you're worth the investment. You're worth the time. When you begin to realize who you are, and that you are more valuable than rubies, that you are created in the image and likeness of God, and you understand everything that He's placed in you is valuable, then you will not allow anyone to devalue you. Set those boundaries and still show up in love, still show up expressing who God is, because sometimes the only God people will see is the one through you. And you can set healthy boundaries and still allow people to see the love of God in you. I hope this helps you during the holiday season. And if you want to talk about it further, just message me. Y'all have a great day.